We're in the middle of converting our Land Rover Defender Rango into our ultimate expedition rig, and this week we are starting to tackle the electrical side of things. Now, the electrical setup in our Land Rover Defender camper is super important because we plan to work remotely from it and live from it from wherever we choose, and I hope we're going to end up in some pretty remote locations. So that's why it's super important that we pay a lot of attention to this. So Brandon has drawn up some pretty detailed schematics for our electrical side of things, which is great. Now, you may have noticed that we have got some pretty awesome new mugs. But that is not the only thing new. Let's head around the back of the Land Rover and we'll show you what we've got. So, you joined me in the back of the Land Rover, and we are very proud to be collaborating with a company called 12 Volt Planet. Now, if you haven't heard of them, 12 Volt Planet are basically your one-stop shop for all your electrical stuff for your campers and motorhomes. And they have kindly sent us loads of top-tier stuff to help power our camper conversion. So Brandon is going to take you through everything that we've got and talk through our electrical schematics. So let's just jump straight into that.
So let's take a look at what we've got. Do you need to come in close? So at the heart of our system, we've got a lithium iron phosphate battery. This is 280 amp hours, and that is an absolute beast of a size and should do everything we need it to do. We've then got various cables and accessories, bus bars, mini fuses, little fuse boxes here, solar isolators. We've got some heat shrinks. We can ensure we've got a nice tidy job. Some more cables, some accessories. And some other little bits. We've got a big battery isolator, and then charging the system, we've got the Victron Orion. This is a 50 amp version. So that takes the power from the alternator and puts it into the lithium battery. And then we've also got the Victron Smart Solar MPPT. So this will take the solar panel charge and put that into the battery. And for the solar, we've gone for 4 100 watt panels. Now I prefer these over a single 100 watt panel because they just work a bit better when you get a bit of low light or shade. So we're going to be wiring them in parallel. So we've still got a couple of bits left to come. We've got the big inverter that's going to do our electric cooking and kind of power laptops and stuff, and we're going for a 3000 watt Victron Multi Plus 2. Some other cable and little bits of accessories, and then hopefully the plan is, we'll see, all of this, let me show you where we're going to fit it. So obviously solar panels will go up on the roof rack, and then if you come around here, now I've already started running a few of the cables because I had some left over from the caddy build. And if you squeeze around, hopefully we're going to mount it all across this back wall and it will all fit beautifully. And then the battery, it's a bit of a tight squeeze, but we should be able to fit the second battery. That's the starter battery. So we should be able to get the second battery in here if all measurements have been worked out correctly. It does sit big, but we're going to make it work. That's it. I'm going to be teaching Chloe how to do the electrical because I know what I'm doing, so I'm going to teach her and show her what to do. But my theory behind it is that if anything does go wrong on the road, she has a better understanding of what it is. So therefore, you know, 2 heads are better than 1.
I'm not sure how this is going to go, and it's going to be 10 times slower than it would be if Brandon was just doing it and I could be doing other things. And I'll probably get really frustrated because I don't have a clue what well, I kind of have a bit of an idea, but I'm not very techie, electrically patient in that terms of things. So let's see how we get going with this. I started by installing our Victron Energy Smart Solar MPPT charge controller, under Brandon's supervision, of course. Now this optimises the power from our solar panels to keep our batteries charged efficiently. With that in place, we moved on to mapping out the rest of our electrical setup, figuring out where key components would go, and trying to think about keeping everything organised and running smoothly.
just wanna try to get you in the mood. I just wanna hit you spot. Wanna get low.
Now, with Brandon's permission to continue, after a thorough inspection of course, I carried on with installing the first bits of the electrics on my own. Slowly but surely, things started to come together, and it was great to see the setup taking shape.
So we've discovered a slight problem when we've been speaking to a couple of the shipping companies, and that is that when we've got the alu cab or any roof pop-top conversion on, she won't fit in a shipping container. So the top bit of the roof rack's got to come off. It's a shame because I really like it, but it is what it is. So let's go. So we're done giving Rango a haircut. Looks a bit funny at the minute, but I'm confident that once the lights are on, it'll look completely different and a lot better. Okay, so we're now going to be moving on to one of the most daunting parts of the job, and that is putting a load of holes in your roof. Now previously, to get the solar connectors in, we've used this type of connector. Chloe's going to put a picture in right now. Now these are great, these will always work for us, but on this occasion we want more than just the solar coming in. So we're going to have the solar, the extra lighting, and anything else we want to put on the roof, so we want to kind of future-proof it. Now an idea I've had is to use a junction box, like this. So I'm going to use a bulkhead connector. We're going to put one hole in to the roof, and then all my cables can feed through there. And then to get into this junction box, we're going to be using the glands. And then this should ensure we've got a really watertight seal and, yeah, future-proof, so we can come back and upgrade, add cables or change them out if we need to. So let's get this installed. Probably shouldn't really be drilling on there. So then that's going to go in there. We'll go in there and then we'll bring all the cables through. And I'm just going to put the glands in if you want to watch it. Squeeze two in. Go again. There we go, just like that. There you go. So we've got the big hole for the bulkhead connector. It's gonna go like that. And then we've got the little one for the solar. So I'm just going to add a load more for all the other accessories and then we'll come back to fitting. So there we go, that's it. We've got all the glands on. Now hopefully we won't use all these, but it's a lot easier to put them in now than try and drill it when this is full of cables. So let's get this mounted on the roof.
So we have these little brackets that we're going to be using to mount the solar panels to the roof rack. And they're this chromy colour which we don't really like, and it'll just stand out. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of a DIY paint job. So join me down here. I've laid them all out, and I'm going to be using the same paint that we've used previously, this primer, and then this Fortress Trade spray paint. Yeah, so we're just going to spray them up black, and then we can get the solar panels on.
So to mount the solar panels, we're going to be using these saddle clips because we've got round roof bars. So they're just going to go under here and then we'll bolt them to the solar panel. And we're going to be putting, I think, 8 in per panel. So there'll be absolutely plenty. Alright, you recording?
Yeah.
So we now have our hole drilled and the little box is going to sit over here like this, and then the bulkhead connector down through there and then tighten up from the bottom, and then that should be all good. So let's get that fitted, and to fit that we're going to be using the glorious CT1, absolute best stuff on the market. Let's go. Let's go. has that all fitted. We're just waiting for the CT1 to go off. Now, it is worth noting this probably isn't the most ideal way of doing it, with the solar panels being on a roof rack, just because you're adding a lot of extra weight where we could get rid of it and ideally bond them straight to the roof. But we're going to be replacing this roof for an alley cab at a later date, so we're kind of designing it in a future-proofed way where we can just take the roof rack off and put it on the new roof. So this is where the cable entry comes into the van. I've just cut that down just so, because it was like here, so just to kind of gain a little bit more room. And now I'm just going to drill a couple of holes in just to reduce, it shouldn't, but just to reduce the chance of that nut backing off. So I'm just going to put a hole through the nut. So that goes all the way through, and then I'm just going to loop a cable tie through. I'm going to do that twice. Preparing the solar panel connectors, and I don't want to use a red and a black, so we're going to have to use two black and mark them. We're using these MC4 connectors just because they're the right ones to use for solar. So we're just going to put that on there. So we've just crimped on the female inner, and then that goes on the male outer, and then just pushes in. It clicks, and then you just do that up. There we go, that's all done. So we now have our solar panel cables marked up, and then on the other end, oh, Chloe's still done it. We've marked one as positive and one as negative, so we know where they're going. Let's go put these on the roof. We're going to plug in two connectors somewhere around there. We'll tidy all this up after. And then these are just going to come into our junction box. Come into here. Then down into the roof. So then we're just going to push everything through, and then we'll tidy all this up after the solar panels are mounted. So we're going to be using these connectors to connect all of our solar panels. So this is so they're wired in parallel, and it just brings all the positives together and all the negatives together, and then they feed onto the MPPT. And because we've got MC4 connectors on everything, that just plugs in. And there you go, you have a IP, I think it's 67. Yeah, IP67 rated, waterproof, dustproof connection. So we're going to drop them back a bit and create like a little storage area here for the max tracks or a bag or something here. And then we've still got the one at the back because we've still got bonnet access and ladder access, so it seems like it would make sense to keep both and have a storage at front and back rather than one bigger storage. So yeah, that's the update.
There's two there. So these are all painted now on the front and on the back, so they look pretty good, and when they're installed, like in here, you won't see them. We're also going to be painting around the edges of our solar panels as well, around here, probably in a black hammerite, so you won't be able to notice them as much either.
Yeah.
So we've also got these brackets that we're going to put on the side here, and they're going to be riveted on. So we're just going to install them, and these will be hammerite, and we hammerite this as well, and they'll keep it nice and square. So, next up was installing the solar panels. We started by drilling the extra holes to make sure they were properly secured, but when it came to bolt them on, we ran into a slight issue. There was absolutely no space for our arms or tools to fit. After realising we couldn't fully remove the roof rack because, well, I couldn't quite reach, we had to get creative. Now I know it might have looked a little bit sketchy, but trust me, it was sturdier than it seemed, and sometimes you just have to make do. Now what we thought would be a quick job ended up taking the entire day. Between problem solving, awkward angles and a fair bit of trial and error, the installation took way longer than expected. But in the end, we got there. So I'm working on another project that I am doing some raptor painting on, and I wanted to, while I got it out and got a bit left over, I wanted to pop a bit on the side of the solar panels. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So as you can see, I've hammerized around these, but the finish is not that great. And it's not like it's not really a finishing coat. So I'm going to go over it with a raptor paint, which I've mixed up here, just to get it finished off. Thanks for watching this video. That is another video done on the camper build, and if you liked this one, please do let us know in the comments below. Also, just give us a like as well. That would be lovely. And if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. It helps you keep up to date with what kind of crazy projects we're getting up to, and it does help us connect with more like-minded people just like you too. I want to give a quick but massive shout out to 12 Volt Planet, who are quite literally helping power and fuel this adventure. By providing all the electrical components and equipment that we need to kind of set up our camper van. I will pop a link in the description below to their website where you can go check out everything about them really. And that's it. Don't forget to join us on Saturday at 6 PM because we are going to be leveling up our electrics even more. So yeah, it's going to be a good one, and hopefully we'll have all our electrics in to kind of talk through and share with you. So yeah, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.